go, you take Flashpoint with you. I like that. I like that one every time, Lady Elise. Wherever you go, take Flashpoint with you. Flashpoint with a difference. For those who just, we enjoy that song non-stop. It was, God, you've been so good to me. And I personalize it, Lady Elise. For me, I've been very selfish with my God lately, I am not sharing God at all with anybody. I just keep it in for myself. For those who want to share, I want to say, well, if you feel like being selfish every now and then, that's all right. But today is my day to say thank you, God, for another beautiful, beautiful morning.
It is Wonderful Wellness Wednesday, and of course we are happy to be in the space this morning. It is an extraordinary day. It's Wonderful Wellness Wednesday, and I have some wonderful guests joining us as well, and I'm sure it is quite an early start for them. And I want to give you a sneak peek. If you are just rising up, yes, you need to share the link, because we're going to take a short break. And then when we return, we have some guests who are sharing with us today, right here on the Breakfast Hour. Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here. And for our first season, we're putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But honey, the final day for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.ky or WhatsApp 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Cayman's Got Talent. Welcome everyone. Of course, we are joined by beautiful ladies, and they are right here in the Cayman Islands. I think we take up too much of the screen, Maggie G. I think they need to be occupying the bigger part of the screen. Oh no, yeah, yes.
All right. Much better. Now I want to say good morning to you as well. Add my quota of good morning. Good morning, ladies.
Okay, so first thing, I would like you to introduce yourselves. I'm not sure, are you hearing me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I want you to go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us where you, which country you are presently, and why you're in this country.
Okay, so I'll go first. Namaste everyone. I am Harshita Yadav, Miss Global International India, and I'm here in Cayman Islands to represent my country, India, at Miss Global International.
Wow.
And go ahead, Miss Mexico. Oh,
I'm
yes.
Mexico, and I'm so excited for stay here. And well,
Well, listen, we have a diverse population here in the Cayman Islands, right? And I want you to use this opportunity, this platform, of course, to connect with the persons here. So, Miss Mexico, speak in your native tongue, and I want you to invite persons to to see you live. When can they see you? I mean, it's good to see beauty on the screen. How can they come? How can they see you and support while you're here?
That's adorable. Yeah,
Thank you.
chicken sun.
Bueno, hola, buenos días. Estoy súper emocionada de estar aquí en las Islas Caimán representando a mi país, algo que me tiene muy orgullosa y pues invito a toda la gente de habla hispana, de Latinoamérica, a que pues nos sigan. Todas las chicas son de verdad hermosas, el lugar es increíble, de verdad toda la gente de aquí es muy muy linda y pues nada, esperamos dar todo y representar a México con gran honor.
Well, that's a mouthful, and I'll tell you, while I don't understand most of that, I want to say to you, you're so beautiful this morning, and I'm telling you that we have a large Spanish community in the Cayman Islands, many from different places, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and many other places, of course, Mexico and Honduras. Many Spanish-speaking persons living in and Spain, of course, in the Cayman Islands. Many, as Lady Lee said earlier, a diverse population living here in Grand Cayman. And of course, you are at the right place this morning. Of course, I look forward to see you on stage representing your country at the time when when it comes around. All right. So for our second other contestant, Miss India. Let me hear a little bit from you. We have a population of lots of Indians are in Grand Cayman. Indians everywhere, many from Indonesia, lots of different. We have various versions of Indians in Cayman. So we are not just from India, they are from different places, but then of course people would say that but they are not from India, so are they Indians? But how could you connect with your Indian population this morning? What would you say to them this morning? Invite them to your event coming up.
Okay, first of all, from the day that I've arrived, I've received so much love, not just from the Indian community here, but from like all the people. And I've been receiving messages from the Indian people here, that they're so happy and, so that I can reach out to them whenever I need their help. And I think that is so heartwarming. And well, to the Indian community, I just want to wish Happy Ram Navami. It's a festival that is in India today,
Wow.
and I think that's what makes Cayman Island unique, right? It's so much diverse, which is so much similar to India also.
Yeah.
And ever since I've been here, I have not felt like I'm not in my country. Like I am so much far from India, but I feel so much at home here.
You do not feel like a stranger this morning right here in Grand Cayman Islands. You feel right at home. Wow.
Yes, and today when I go out, I am so eager to like interact and to meet everyone who have been texting me and showing all the love, and I just can't wait.
Well, I believe that while you are eager to meet them, they are also twice as much eager to meet you as well. So
That is so sweet. That is so sweet.
I believe that this pageant is going to be one of the biggest and the best coming up. This one is going to be topping the last one, because I remember the last Miss Global International was an awesome event as well. And I'm telling you, I think I see a few of the young ladies already, like yourself, and I'm looking at the beauties, and I'm saying we are blessed this time around with some really great and lovely women of talent across the globe, right here in Grand Cayman Islands. Ladies.
Yes, of course, we want to
I think
extend.
it's such a wonderful thing that all the countries coming here together, sharing each other. Yesterday we had a dinner with all the girls and we exchanged gifts, souvenirs that we bought from our own country, and that is so enriching in itself. Yeah.
Well, wow, ladies, you got to take on the challenge this morning because I'm out of my depths here, right?
Yes, I mean, I want to extend a very warm welcome to these beautiful ladies. I had the opportunity of us meeting them when they arrived here in Ireland, and after traveling How many hours was it for you, India?
It was around 25 hours.
Wow,
25 hours.
25 hours
And how much for
traveling.
you? Yes. And how much for you, Mexico?
14 hours.
And I believe me, they came out with such grace and poise. And the message that it comes to me boldly this morning is that regardless of your circumstances and how you have gone through stuff, you can step boldly and they represent. They came ready to represent. So if you're here on island, if you're in the Cayman Islands, you need to come out and support these beautiful ladies. There are a number of activities that will be happening. If you see them and you see the smile that they're displaying, it's always there. They're warm and welcoming. And I want to wish you all the best in the competition. And I know you'll do well. I just know you'll do well.
And I look forward to meeting all the people here, not just Indian people, but that there's a big Filipino community. I've met Jamaican people, a lot of Jamaica people, and on the stage when we go on the stage, I think it will mean a lot to all the girls, seeing all that love
Yes.
and support, and it will make our hard work worth it, and also it will also make their day too.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm happy that you want to meet. I think that this lady, this pageant, I think is going to be the one to top the scale on Miss Global International. And here Miss India is, and of course Miss Mexico. Beautiful, talented young ladies this morning. And I want to say thank you for blessing us with your presence at Flashpoint. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Gracias.
All the best. And also I want to say a big shout out to Miss Kathleen Tyson, who was on earlier. And she, of course, is the organizer and she is putting in a lot of work. She's making sure these ladies are comfortable, well taken care of, and she will be able to share with us a lot of the activities that will be happening. There will be more of these ladies joining us here on the breakfast hour, so you have to stay connected. They will be just coming in and out and sharing with us. So, listeners and viewers, please support them. Come out to Hotel Indigo on the 4th of October, correct?
Yeah.
And you can get your tickets by logging on Eventpro or going to the Miss Global International website. And if you want to give us a call here at Flashpoint 345-321-6969, we can hook you up. So please go ahead, support these beautiful ladies. They have traveled from far and near, sharing their rich cultural heritage. Thank you so much for joining us right here on the Breakfast Hour. All the best.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Estoy bien. Yeah, yeah. And it is. I believe we have seen some lovely ladies before, but I'm looking at quite a pick this time around. Mexico and Miss India. Quite
Yes.
beautiful young ladies.
Yes, 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 yes. Actually, we're hoping that when we have Hispanic Day on Friday,
Yes.
we will be joined by hopefully Miss San Andres, who speaks Spanish.
Yes, Miss
And-
Andre is definitely Spanish. Well,
and
English. Yeah,
if
English
Miss
and Spanish
Mexico-
together. Yes.
Yes, if Miss Mexico could rejoin us on Friday morning,
That would be
it
nice.
would be certainly awesome.
Yes, that would be great. That would be great. That would be great. All right.
Okay, so we also have, let's go for a short break. And
All right. So we'll take a short break, but we go for a devotional. When we come back, we will deal with a few of our business. All right. So let's do this one.
Good morning. This is day 1 of a new month. Do not marvel that I said to you, you must be born again. John chapter 3 verse 7. Changed lives are possible. Written by Vernon Groves. Lord Kenneth Clark, internationally known for his television series Civilization, lived and died without faith in Jesus Christ. In his autobiography, he wrote about an overwhelming religious experience he had while visiting a beautiful church. My whole being, Clark wrote, was irradiated by a kind of heavenly joy far more intense than anything I had known before. Unfortunately, the flood of grace, as he described it, created a problem for him. If he allowed himself to be influenced by it, he knew he would change. His family might think he had lost his mind, or perhaps the intense joy would prove to be an illusion. So he concluded, I was too deeply embedded in the world to change course. What a tragedy! If only he had responded to the grace-granted glimpse of another world. If only he had allowed it to turn his attention away from this world and toward Jesus. Then he would have become a part of that invisible world, which is not an illusion, but a glorious reality. God can enable any one of us to change, no matter how deeply embedded we may be in this world. The miracle of the new birth will take place when we say yes to the stirring of God's grace in our souls. The Savior is waiting to save you and cleanse every sin stain away. By faith, you can know full forgiveness and be a new creature today. Our quote this morning reads, salvation is not a reformation, but transformation. End quote.
Looking to build your dream home or renovate your space? M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345-927-7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345-927-7509.
Of course, welcome back. Good morning once again. Of course, this morning, ladies, joined by some beautiful ladies this morning, right here on Flashpoint. Miss Global International, right here in the Grand K. A good pick this time, ladies. As I said before, ladies are looking lovely.
Indeed, Michael G. Very, very interesting conversation this morning. And, you know, these ladies exude such grace and poise even after traveling hours. And the reminder that came to us is that sometimes we're going through difficult circumstances the wilderness, and knowing that you're gonna come out on the other side, that's certainly a reassurance. So I want to thank them for joining us this morning. It's Wellness Wednesday, so they just kind of popped in and popped out. They have a very, I would say, a tight itinerary, and they'll be going to different places today. But we encourage you to support these ladies as they are in the Cayman Islands. Women from all over the world, from the UK, from Jamaica, and they are talented and they are happy to be here. So we want to welcome them, and of course we wish them all the best as the winner will take the crown on Saturday evening.
All right, of course, Cayman Got Talent, right in the Grand Cayman, also coming up on the 25th of October 2025. So guys, yeah, look forward for that one as well. Yeah, and lots of things going on around here. Flashpoint Media presents Cayman Got Talent, of course. Let's do that, and then when we come back.
Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here. And for our first season, we are putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But hurry, the final date for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.ky or WhatsApp 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Cayman's Got Talent. To Wellness Wednesday, the very first day in the month of October. If you're following the national calendar, it is actually National Black Dog Day, National Hair Day, Random Acts of Poetry Day, National Fire Pop Day, National Pumpkin Spice Day, National Green City Day, National Pumpkin Seed Day, National Coffee with a Cup Day, National Walk to School Day, which is the first day of Wednesday. But it is a wonderful day to be alive, needless to say, if you're joining us on any of the social media platforms. Morning, Maggie G. How you doing?
Good morning, Lady Lisa. As you talk about National Walk to School Day, I walked a lot to school when I was growing up. I walked some good 5 miles to school and 5 miles back. And that's on a daily basis, and so I'm used to walking. It's not like now when you get your transportation, come pick you up at your gate and take you to school and you are now fat and lazy, that these children, some children, I don't know.
Well, Dr. King will tell us that walking is healthy.
But then the thing about it is this, because of the security of the children, I would also apply the bus routes and the taxis and all that. But then, we have so many things going on. I suppose it has its merit. But I used to walk to school when I was a youngster. 5 miles to and 5 miles back. And it was just okay because we had good fun walking with our friends. And, we had to fight a little bit on the way and all that because a few bits and pieces in there. But we had a lot of time. National Walk to School Day. Yeah, Mikey J enjoyed that a lot back in the day. Good morning, everyone. Of course, good morning.
Good morning. And for some persons, it's an extra special day. Today is Beverly's birthday. Beverly is one of our VIPs, and we have to give her a shout out for It's also a birthday of a friend of mine, Lady Deidre. I want to say happy birthday to you as well. But today is Wellness Wednesday, and Dr. K mentioned what she'll be speaking about this week. Some very tiny little creatures that you can't see, but they impact your life. We are talking about those parasites. But anyway, she's going to get into the conversation. She had some fantastic names that she used to name these very small creatures. But of course, Dr. K will speak more about those tiny creatures that can impact your health in a huge way. So after the break, Dr. K will join us.
All right, let me come back.
Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here. And for our first season, we're putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But hurry, the final date for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.py or WhatsApp 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Cayman Got Talent.
Welcome back. Of course, we want to also welcome our resident physician, Dr. K. And if you didn't know, Dr. K has been practicing medicine for a long time, and so she has a vast amount of experience, and she wants us to stay healthy. This is her way of giving back. So she comes on here, well-researched material every week to share with us how we can stay healthy. Today, she is going to talk about some creepy, crawly, tiny parasites. So welcome, Dr. K. Welcome to the Breakfast Hour and the Wellness Wednesday.
Thank you, Lady Elise. Good morning, Lady Elise. Good morning, Mikey G.
Good morning,
Thanks for
Dr.
having
K.
me this morning. So, as Lady Elise said, we'll be talking about parasites. And I'm sure it's not a very pleasant thing to know that we have parasites, but unfortunately, there are many parasites around. And what is a parasite? Basically, a parasite is an organism that needs a host to survive. So it either lives on the host or in the host.
Like a baby?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking, right? I'm just thinking. I heard it, I'm just thinking.
I suppose a baby could be classified as a parasite.
I'm just thinking, Dr. K.
It's an organism that needs a host in order to survive.
Right? It lives inside or outside. And so I just thought about that.
That's true. I mean, inside and outside, that's correct. For a time. Eventually the baby grows.
Yes.
So there are different types of parasites. There are so many different types of parasites. And depending on the types of parasites you have, the symptoms will vary. So if we're talking about, let's talk about parasites. Those are ectoparasites, meaning these parasites live on your skin. So what are some of the common ones? And some of the common ones we have is something like lice. So we know that lice are these small creatures, right? And they live on the skin. And what the lice do is that they are never going to kill us, but it's uncomfortable, okay? So lice can be in the scalp, as we see. They can be in the pubic area, or they can be hairs wherever the hairs are. And it's not that they're going to be causing, they're not fatal, but the the discomfort that they produce is horrible. So you can get lice. There's things called crab lice that you can get from sexual contact with other people, and you can get lice by sharing their personal items. Like, if somebody has parasites and you sleep with the person on the same pillow, same sheets, share comb, say share personal items, then you can pass the organism or the lice, basically the lice, onto somebody else, and as a result of that they can become infected. I suppose it's not a big thing now, but lice is common, like in dormitory schools. If one child comes with it, then the risk of the other children getting it is increased. And so it's something that is easily treated with shampoos or antiparasitic shampoos that can be used to kill the lice. And then there are other things like scabies. Scabies, again, is something that nobody wants. It's very, very itchy. And these are little mites that burrow under the skin. A lot of times people get it from touching. So they will touch door handles, they will touch people with it, shake hands, and then it burrows under the in the intertriginous areas, that's the areas between the fingers, and then you scratch yourself, you touch other areas of your body, and you can pass these scabies on. It's very contagious. So if somebody has scabies and they touch somebody else, they can get scabies. And especially in the house, in fact, it's recommended that if one person has scabies, in terms of their clothes, we recommend that you boil the clothes and boil the bed sheets if you can't throw them away. But boil everything in order to get rid of these mites. And so the itching, and you can get a dermatitis, you can get infections with these little mites if they're not treated properly. But then again, it's very easy to treat because you can get the cream, the antiparasitic cream that you can rub all over your body for a few days, and it will get rid of the mites. But in terms of the clothes, it is in the bed sheets, it is in the clothes. So you'll have to boil the clothes in order to kill these mites. And then we have other things like fleas and ticks, and we know that ticks, we're not humans are not really the host for ticks. Animals are, but they sometimes get on humans and they can cause some diseases. For example, they can cause things like what's the name of the tick disease again, guys? My brain failed me right now. There's a disease that ticks can carry. Bieber, what's his name again? That singer had it. Oh, okay. We'll move on for it whenever it comes back to my brain. So ticks can actually carry diseases, and so what we want to do is to make sure that we actually get rid of these small creatures. Let me see. Tick-borne disease. Lyme. That's correct. Lyme disease. And I think Justin Bieber had Lyme disease. I think that was in the news just recently. He had Lyme disease. So we can have things like, so ticks can actually cause disease. So if you go into areas where there's a lot of animals or grassy areas, check your clothes, check yourself, your shoes, your clothes. And if you have a hairy skin, just check for these lice, because the immature ticks, because they can be carried in your house or carried on you, and they burrow under the skin, and then will feed on your blood and can be very uncomfortable. Not all of them carry diseases now, Lyme disease, but they can be very uncomfortable. Then we go on to other parasites that we are looking onto. And the other one
I would tell you of an experience that I had when I was young. I had some friends living in part of the country. I think it's somewhere. I know in what's the place? Westmoreland. Yes, and I went to Westmoreland and I went into the bushes, and I came home. Well, when I came home, I found myself. I didn't notice. I found a wart on the side of my waist, and I saw that little wart there, and I said, you know what? Where did I get this wart from? You know, and I feel it. So I said, wow. And you know, over time, like about a day after, the wart got bigger. The wart got bigger. I'm like, wow, this wart seems like it's growing faster than anything else. How this wart get from being a tiny wart?
It must be cancerous, right?
I don't know what it is.
Aggressive, fast-growing.
Cancer was not a big thing at the time. I didn't hear much about cancer back in those days. If it was, I didn't know about it. But I saw the thing as a youngster. And the next day, the thing got much bigger. To the point where I said, no. A day passed and it couldn't get this big over like 2 days. 3 days maximum. And I took a closer look and it had feet. Lots of them. I had a tick growing on my side. And my mother said, no, don't pick him off. And so she got some kerosene oil and put on him. And he let go after. So I didn't get to pick him off because he said if you leave those tentacles in you, it can cause trouble for you. So she got some kerosene oil and put it on it. And the tick let go of my skin. And it was a big one. It walked, oh my gosh, it was so horrible. But I remember that thing up until now. As they talk about it, I said, man, you know, yes. A few of the other ones I thought about too, but I just keep that one.
Okay. So we'll talk about...
Well, the other one was, the men said that if you happen to contract the crab lice, you must, this guy, he went to the beach and he swam far and lose them in the water. It was a story. I think it was a story to us. That if you get involved in that, I use kerosene oil to burn them. I don't know. It was a big story. I hear people do some crazy stuff, and we talked about these things and we laugh a little bit. But as you talked about it, those stories came back to my mind.
Okay, for your listeners, these are not endorsed treatment.
No. This is local people's conversation.
Right, so moving on, we'll talk about worms. So worms, they're helminths and they're called parasitic worms, right? And there are different types of parasitic worms. Before we move to that word, we go back to the flukes. Basically, we have things called flukes, which are basically flatworm. Can we go back a little bit? 2 slides back. So these flatworms basically are spread through contaminated water or aquatic animals, right? Like snails and crabs. And there are different types of flukes. So when the flukes go into when they actually go into the water, when we go into contaminated water, then they can infect our bloodstream, go into our urinary bladder, and can go into our liver and into our lung. And the one that we have there is a fluke in the liver. And they can go in the liver and cause abscesses. And I've seen quite a few. I've seen these liver flukes in, when I was studying parasitology, we saw them in the liver of cows. And they look like little leaf-shaped organisms. They're flat. And basically, they can cause very uncomfortable, can cause infection of the liver, and they can cause the whole body, they can cause sepsis. So it's important that we make sure, and these are not so common, especially in animals, because most animals are, what would we say, they're inspected. So they look at the liver, they look at different organs, and if the liver is infected, then the animal tends to not be put in the food chain for food, because of course they have these flukes and they do not want them to be infected to human. And not to mention the animal itself is a sick animal, is an ill animal. So the food is not good, the meat is not good for consumption. Oh. And then we have other worms. For example, we have our worms or tapeworms. And our tapeworms are worms basically that are flat again, and they live in the intestines. And what they do is actually feed off the nutrients from their host, and that's how they get their food. And they basically will replicate they spread by laying eggs in their hosts, and the eggs leave their host body when they poop, and then the eggs now go into infected food and water or undercooked meat. So these tapeworms, once you ingest them, they lay the eggs inside the body, and after laying the eggs inside the body, they can actually, the eggs go out with the stool, and when the eggs go out with the stool, if people are not having proper hygiene, that means they're not washing their hands, infecting their foods. People are pooping in the lettuce field, or in the cabbage field, or in the callaloo field, and they're infected with these parasites. Then you're not washing the vegetable properly, then you can get infected. Or you're not washing your hands properly, or you're handling infected food, or if we're not cooking our meat properly, yes, we can get these.
So you're saying that those large, I never thought about this thing until you just said it a while ago. Those large plantations that people are on it, whole heap of acres of land, and people are there farming. Yeah, you're saying they can't get to the bathroom fast enough, and sometimes they might just have to bend down right where they are. That's what you're saying, that. I'm not saying that's what you're saying.
I'm saying it's possible, but I'm just saying it won't be a problem if they're not infected. If they're not infected.
But I'm thinking about it still, whether infected or not, No, I mean, good fertilizer or not good fertilizer, I'm just
Breakfast time. Can I tell you it's breakfast time? I plan to enjoy my meals today. So, yes, Dr. K.
Right.
Mercy.
So, and then we have other things like our roundworms. So, our roundworms, I'm sure there are lots of persons who have been exposed to roundworms. I remember lots of patients will take the roundworm, these long white worms, and they will take them in a jar and say, "Doc, I passed this worm last night." I'm like, "You don't need to take it. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you." But the roundworms are roundworms. So there are different types of roundworms. The first one we're going to talk about is something called Ascaris lumbricoides. And Ascaris lumbricoides are basically interesting worms, interesting roundworms. And I'll tell you why they're interesting is because, as you see the picture, they can basically become such a high worm burden, meaning that they can basically cause obstruction. So, and there's a story about this child who came to hospital for abdominal pain, and he was 2 years old, and they were investigating him, and they admitted him, and in the night he had such a high worm burden that the worms actually came up into his throat and caused asphyxiation, and the child died. So
wow.
These worms, if you have that amount of worms in your body, what can happen is that they can basically fill up your stomach, and they can move up and they can move down. So you can pass them out or you can pass them up. And it's very important that we basically practice proper hygiene, wash our hands, wash our food, and wash our clothes properly, because if we're infected with these worms, and a lot of times we're not, because of the sensitivity, or people are practicing much better hygiene, we're having more access to healthcare, and more knowledge and information goes around, so we're not really as infected with these worms anymore. But roundworms are very important. Then there are other types of roundworm, and this one is Trichinella spiralis. And this one is called a pork worm. The pork worm. And the reason why is because this worm, you tend to get this worm from undercooked meat. And there's this theory that, with pork, in order for the worm to die, you have to basically burn the meat. So you do not get it from beef because cows do not eat animals, but you get it from animals that eat animals. For example, deers and what's the name of the thing, and pigs and other animals that eat animals. So they're more likely, if when you eat those meat, you're likely to get the worm. So what happens with this worm? The difference with Trichinella spiralis is that you ingest the worm, the eggs from it. Sorry, the eggs go into the intestine. It develops into the larvae, which develops into the worm, and the worm finds itself into the bloodstream. And because it finds itself into the bloodstream, it can actually go all the way into the muscles of the body. So it can go into any muscles. It can go into the skeletal muscle, it can go into the heart muscle, and it can go into the brain tissue, because these are all muscles. So it can go into all these muscles and cause an infection. So when it goes into the muscle, you can get illnesses, you can get pain in the muscles. Okay, it can go into the brain, and these people can get a encephalitis and inflammation of the brain tissue, which can, a lot of times you have to look for these things, because a person can be coming and they're very, very sick, or they're having pain in the muscle, or issues with the heart, or issues with the brain. And if you're not aware that these things can cause problems, then guess what?
So that sometimes I hear some people talk to me and stuff, and I sometimes I want them to have worm in their brain because they can't be normal. You know, some of the things that they're saying. You know, that's my thought. I don't know, but anyways, the other part of it is many persons when they talk about the worm that is in the pork or animal that eat the meat. Somebody like a dog or maybe a pig. Maybe the person says, well, I homegrow my pig and I believe that that pig is not infected with the worm. You know, that pig is a homegrown pig, so that pig won't have that worm that you're talking about because it's not eating any other animals or anything like that.
Well, the thing about it, remember, not all animals have it because of the exposure to veterinary medicine. A lot of animals are dewormed and are properly cared for. So not all animals will get pork tapeworm. I mean pork roundworm, but there's pork, and there are other tapeworms that pork can have. There's Taenia solium, which is another flat tapeworm that lives in pork, basically. So this is one that, and it causes similar symptoms. The reason I talked about this one is because of the effect of it. Once we get it, we ingest the eggs, it can go into the muscles, the skeletal muscle, and even into the brain tissue, and can cause issues. And that's why I talked about it so much.
Wow.
So basically eating food that is not cooked properly, and as a result of that we have to cook. These meats have to be cooked so well. And there's so many parasites that we can talk about today. I mean, I would have to have a long time, to exhaust the amount of parasites that we have. But there's so many parasites, and also trichinella. It can go around the muscles of the eye, so it can go any muscle. Sometimes you see it around the muscles of the eye and cause a swelling there, and it's actually the worm that is in the eye. Okay, so as I say, it can go into any muscle at all. And then there's another worm. Oh, I like this one. This worm is called Enterobius vermicularis, and it's called pinworm. And I'm sure you've heard about the itchy bottom. Whenever you have an itchy bottom, you might have worms, and this is usually pinworm. And the reason why pinworm is so important is that it's easily diagnosed. So the female worm, right, comes out of the body, and especially in the nights, lay the eggs on the outside of the bottom. These eggs hatch outside and they find their way back into the bottom, go back up into the intestines. Okay, so the problem is that sometimes the worms though depends on when they're hatching, sometimes they lose their way and will migrate to different places. Okay, so they might lose their way and will migrate up the vagina instead of going back into the bottom, especially for children, and can cause a vaginitis. Okay, the things with enterobus vermicularis, because the eggs are laid on the outside of the body, they can drop into the bed sheets. So you can get, so for example, your baby or your child has pinworms, and you're making the bed and you waft the bed sheets. No, you can inhale it.
Ah,
Goes into your nose, goes it back into your bloodstream. So it can go into your lungs and it can cause something we call a Loeffler's pneumonia, and it finds its way into the bloodstream and then back into the intestines and infect you. So that's the thing with pinworm. Very easily diagnosed. Just get a clear sellotape and tape it onto the bottom and take that to the doctor, and then look for the eggs. Okay? Or sometimes you can see the worms on the outside. And I've seen it many times.
I'm not visiting any hotels anytime soon now. I mean, I'm having another problem. Because
so when you go to hotels, what you're really looking for in hotels is looking on the edge of the bed sheet, because you're looking for bed bugs. That's basically what you look for, because a lot of these sheets are washed, so you're less likely to get pinworms. What you look for is look around the bed sheets for these dark creatures looking for the bed bugs. That's what you look for most of all. You just lift up the things and look around. That's where the bed bugs would be sitting.
So, question, Dr. K. When I think about the digestive system and how active it is, how is it that these worms would take up residence, and not only take up residence, they multiply in an environment where you have gastric acids, you have peristalsis, you have movement going on? What causes them to flourish, and what can you do in your everyday life to prevent that sort of habitat for these parasites?
I know that.
So, and that's a very good question. You know what you can do to prevent it? We can practice great hygiene. We can make sure we don't get them. But if we do get these worms, right, what we can do is build our immune system, because not all parasites will multiply in the body. Our immune system good enough will get rid of them. But sometimes what will happen is that we can eat foods. For example, there are some things that we can eat. When you eat your pawpaw, don't throw away the seeds. Eat a few seeds. They're anti-parasitic. They will get rid of some of the worms. There are things that we eat, or beets or carrots or fiber. These are things that will help our raw garlic or pumpkin seeds or probiotics. These are things that will help to get rid of these worms. But sometimes what happens is that because our immune system sometimes is not so good, the worm burden increases. So you get one worm, and that one worm can sit in that intestine and multiply forever.
You know, Doc, I'd heard of a man, a rumhead, they say. I said, man, you drink too much rum. He said, when we can drink rum, so he said, because rum good for worm. He said, what do you mean rum good for worm? He said, all right, we can do an experiment and show you. That's why I drink rum. And so what he did was he got a glass of water, he got a glass of rum, and he got a worm. And what he did, he put the worm in a glass of water, and the worm was just swimming around and enjoying himself and just carrying on and carrying on. I'm saying, all right, you see that? You're so happy him is inside that? All right, put him over here, so now. And then put him inside the bottle of rum, the glass of rum, like that. He just freeze immediately. You see? That's why I drink rum, because rum good for worm. You know? Is he right?
No.
That's an answer. That's an answer there. No. Is he right? No.
So that's what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that, it's a matter of our immune system. Some people are more likely to get worm, but the point is that and there are times that we can get worms from different ways. There's a particular, I'm going to talk about two particular worms. There's a particular worm that's called Strongyloides stercoralis. And that's another worm that is a very interesting worm. And one of the reasons I say it's interesting is because that worm can cause an increased worm burden. It's still like when we talk about Enterobius Ascaris lumbricoides, where you get a lot of coil in terms of the worm. This one, the worm burden can be very, very high because the female is something we call parthenomonic female, meaning that she does not need a male to fertilize her eggs to produce worms. So she goes in and the males are good, the males don't cause any problem. It's the female that causes the problem. She just stays there and she lays eggs and lays eggs.
But that's always true, Dr. K. Males don't really cause any problem. In a normal day, males are okay.
And
it's always as you said, the female who causes the problem.
That's correct. In the lower animal kingdom, not in the upper animal kingdom. In humans, it's the opposite, but in the lower animal kingdom,
that's a conversation we could have because we're not finding that. I talked to my friend in Canada, and he said something else to me, and I know, and that was this evening, yesterday evening, and I'm saying to you that I'm certain that there is no way. Canada has actually shifted the thing around now, so he has told me a few things. I'm like, what? Oh no,
So these worms, when they get infected, right? When you get infected with these worms, what they do is that she just lays, and she can lay thousands upon thousands. The thing about it is that she just lays these eggs. Her eggs can't reproduce; they're basically infertile. But she can lay so many eggs without fertilization, without a male. She just sits there and just kill you, basically. Just lay too many eggs.
So there's something growing up in Jamaica that used to be practiced is deworming every summer before school. It's just a part of the preparation for school. Is there any reason to continue it in adulthood then, that you could just go over the counter and purchase medicine for that?
Absolutely. Just recently I decided that I haven't dewormed in a long time, so I'm gonna get some Zentel, and that's over the counter. That's readily available. So Zentel is something that you can use for worms, and the thing about it is that you don't necessarily, if you eat properly and you have no symptoms, it's likely that even if you do have one worm, and likely that you don't, you shouldn't have an issue. But it's when you have symptoms, so you can have abdominal pain, nausea, you can have bitter nails, because these are some of the things: abdominal pain, bloating, fever, chills, fatigue, unexplained weight loss, children who are failing to thrive, not growing well. And the reason why we used to do it, and our parents used to do it when we were children, is because every summer, we used to eat anything. We never used to, we go pick an apple, it drop on the ground, we wipe it off and we eat it.
So what about the fruits themselves that sometimes have worm?
Like the ones that you eat at night only? Like you just wash them and eat?
Those are good worms. Those are just extra protein. They don't cause any problem.
Because I remember when we used to, we grew up, and there's a mango called kidney mango, I think it's called kidney mango. And so they say, you can't eat kidney mango during the day. You have to wash it and eat it in the night. And so many people, I was like, oh my God. But anyway, it was one of the many things that happened back in the day. There's a plum they call hog plum. It looks like they call it one a coolie plum. It's similar, but it's named hog plum. It has a lot of worms in it. And I'm telling you, the children coming from school would have a field day with those plums, right? So I know about these things. It is a serious time.
So yes, the worms in the fruits are different kind of worms. So those worms are not the worms that are parasitic worms to humans. They eat their food from the fruits. So they won't cause us any severe issues really. And furthermore, we're gonna be digesting them just like any other protein. It's those parasitic worms which are the problem. So remember, these worms might live on the soil, might be in animals, might walk around, and guess what? We as children, when you're growing up, I mean, we don't have the kind of rural living and the land space that we used to delve in anymore in most places. So as a result of that, people are not walking around. You used to go pick up guavas, everything, apples, oranges, everything, and children never practice all this hygiene where we wash our fruits. We pick it off the tree, we eat it. It drop on the ground, you rub it on your clothes and you eat it. So your parents knew that you were congregating with other children who might have worms, and you might get passed from one place to the other. So yes, at the end of summer, they say, oh my God, you were eating horribly. I don't know what you ate, what are the things that you did, and because worms were available, they would deworm you, they would give you a washout, and they would deworm you. And it was a good practice, actually. The thing about it that worms are not so much prevalent as they were before because of the, as I say, our hygienic preferences are a little different, and as a result of more access to healthcare and education, so our children do not practice that kind of, habit as they normally do. But the other one that we need to look about is cutaneous larval migrans, and this is a worm that we can get. What it does is it's like a dog worm, hookworm, and for example, a lot of people get it when they go a lot into the Caribbean, onto the beach, and they walk on the beach barefooted, okay? And the larvae, the worms actually penetrate up the foot and can go all the way up to the legs, and we can see them crawling under the skin.
And you're talking about the people with the dogs on the beach, walking with the dogs on the beach. That's what you're talking about?
Usually the dogs the dogs poop on the beach.
Poop on the beach.
If they're infected, a lot of these dogs are not infected because, of course, they have a vet, and then people are
on the beach lying down on their towels and having a good time, and these people walking with these dogs pooping on the beach, all that. I mean, I am having a, you just made me feeling a little. Do we take these things into consideration when we talk about healthcare for the people over the dogs, or do we pride the dogs more than the people? Which one? Well, you don't have to answer that, dog. I'm not going to put you in the spot.
But Maggie, do you remember a lot of those dogs are dewormed? They're treated. They go to their vet regularly, and
Yes.
they have
More
great
often
healthcare.
than people.
Well, you know what I'm going to do.
Healthcare.
There's a man.
A lot of these animals tend to be very when it comes. But if like just the stray animals or the stray dogs, those who are not the dogs that are not getting that kind of care, then yes, they can have the worms, and they can poo under the sand. We walk on the sand, and the worms can burrow into our feet, go all the way up, and we can actually see them on our limbs, and they're called cutaneous larval migrants. So as I said before, there's so many different worms, so many different parasites. Parasite comes in different forms, and they're parasites that are sexually transmitted. For example, trichomonas, or there are other ones that we can get from different things. There's the amoebae, which we get from water. There's the sporozoans, which we get from plasmodium, like malaria. There's so many other different types of parasites. But the thing about it is that we just need to know that practicing better hygiene, washing our foods, cooking our foods, not eating, because remember, raw fish can carry parasites. There's so many parasites. So the washing of fruits and vegetables properly, trying to cook our meat, cook it, to a particular temperature, and we have to make sure that if we're not sure about, especially when we travel, if we're not sure about the water, then we need to make sure we're not eating and even walking or bathing with contaminated water. And the important thing is to build our immune system. And as I said, there are a number of things that we can do to treat. There are a number of antiparasitic drugs, shampoos, or whatever ointments we need, depending on the parasite that we have. Bathing, washing ourselves properly, cleaning our furniture properly, and we can eat properly. We can eat, as I said, pawpaw is an easy one. You eat the seeds. Just the seeds are a little bit tart, so we probably just want to swallow a few without even chewing them. The body will digest it, and these can help to get rid of the parasites. But there are other supplements and food that will help to clear these parasites from the digestive tract and prevent them from growing, like our beets or carrots or fiber or raw garlic. Honey is another thing that's important. Pumpkin seeds or vitamins or probiotics, zinc. These are important in clearing and getting rid of these organisms.
Well, I say thank you, Doc, for telling us more about the parasites that have affected us and infecting us and attacking us. This morning's episode is brought to you by Sai Ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. I tell you, Doc, you really stir my heart up a little bit. My mind is stirred up right now, and I am really upset with the people walking the dogs on the beach, because why I say that is why I say that, and you tell me that they actually go to the vet regular and all that. There's a little cartoon that I was growing up on this cartoon many years ago, and there's a man in an hammock, lying in a hammock under a tree, 2 coconut trees. He has his margarita, whatever it is he's drinking, lemonade, maybe, and underneath it says, "Hard work don't kill." That's the first one. The next slide says, I am not taking any chances. That's what he said. He knows that hard work don't kill, but he is not taking any chances with hard work. Like, I'm not taking any chances with those dogs on the beach walking. I'm just afraid of them right now, based on what he said. I'm walking on the beach barefooted, and these people, the dogs, I'm still thinking about those parasites that's going up in my foot. And while I'm lying on the beach on my side and all sort of things, I'm not afraid of the beach now. And I love the beach so much. Yeah. Thank you, Doc, for this morning's experience. Of course, ladies, you don't have the problem that I have. So.
No, I don't.
Alright, it has been a wonderful presentation this morning, and I'm telling you so many things that you shared with us this morning matters to us. I think many of our listeners or viewers will benefit from this experience this morning. And if you did not benefit from it, then, well, share it with somebody who may benefit from it. That's all I could say.
Thank you so much, Dr. K. Thank you for sharing as usual. And we look forward to what you will share next with us on the very next Wellness Wednesday.
Alright, guys, so see you next week. Thank you, Dr. K. Alright, guys, when we come back,
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4, Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Lasco 1 and Up now has ARA, DHA, and prebiotics. It's a new, smarter formula. The time by Lasco 1 and Up is...
First, the time by Lasco 1 and Up is 8:59 in the AM right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. I'm telling you, it has been a beautiful morning right here. We're hanging out in the studio of Flashpoint this morning, and I'm telling you, it's such a very informative morning. We got the chance to meet a few of our contestants from the Miss Global this morning, and of course Miss Mexico and Miss India. We were blessed by their presence this morning in the studio of Flashpoint this morning, and so we want to thank those who joined us for this experience. But of course, don't go away. News comes up next. Of course, our news anchor Corley Curran brings the news to us right here on Flashpoint. So stay tuned for that one right here.
Good morning, Cayman. I'm Corley Karen, and this is The Breakfast Or, your roundup of the top stories making headlines across Cayman, the region, and the world. PPM urges government to publish clear immigration plan. The opposition People's Progressive Movement is calling on the government to urgently release a clear immigration strategy amid growing uncertainty and business concerns. In a press release issued on 24th September, the PPM commended the National Coalition for Caymanians government for prioritizing Caymanians in the workforce and protecting the integrity of immigration and residency systems. However, it warned that the current approach is creating confusion. The party noted a stark difference in tone between Premier Andre Ebanks, who has advocated a measured path forward, and Minister Michael Miles, whose tougher proposals, including extended waits for Caymanian status and stricter work permit rules, have caused anxiety among businesses. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce has also called for a, quote, practical, phased, and consultative, end quote, approach to immigration to avoid economic disruption. The PPM said immigration reform is too important to become divisive and urged the government to lead with facts, not fear. It is now pressing Cabinet to publish a definitive statement outlining its position on proposed changes to immigration and work permit laws. MPs consider $108 million in extra spending. Parliament's Finance Committee met on 25th September to review government requests for $108 million in supplementary spending across key sectors including education, financial services, health, tourism, and communications. Finance Minister Ralston Anglin reported that 2025 revenues are forecast at $1.2 billion, about $49 million more than originally budgeted. Operating expenses are also expected to hit $1.2 billion, leaving an operation surplus of just over $10.3 million. Despite increased spending, Anglin assured lawmakers that Cayman will remain compliant with all 6 principles of responsible financial management, with cash reserves covering nearly 94 days. Key allocations include $19.3 million for education, from primary and secondary school services to infrastructure and scholarships, and $4.1 million for financial services ahead of a major FATF evaluation. Funds were also approved to modernize Radio Cayman, which Premier Ebanks described as woefully inadequate. and notable discussions centered on the growing demand for non-Caymanian children, including those of civil servants and mixed nationality families, to attend public schools, a challenge Anglin described as complex and difficult to forecast. Cayman launches official property price index. The Lands and Survey Department has launched Cayman's first official residential property price index, offering data on price trends from 1998 to 2024 by region. Director Yuji Obi unveiled the index at the Property Update Forum 2025, saying it will guide policy on stamp duty, affordable housing, and financial stability. Banks and regulators, including Cayman Islands Monetary Authority, are also expected to rely on the data. The first phase focused on condominiums, revealing that property prices on 7 Mile Beach surged by 517% since 1998, compared to 465% in West Bay and 402% in Georgetown. The second phase will track house prices, with Georgetown data released quarterly and other regions updated annually. Doctors Hospital earns prestigious international accreditation. Doctors Hospital has become the first facility in Cayman to achieve 8th edition accreditation from Joint Commission International, the highest standard awarded by the global healthcare body. The hospital says the accreditation reflects its commitment to world-class care, sustainability, and patient safety. Board Chairman Dr. Yaron Rado called it a validation for the hospital's 25-year mission to deliver globally benchmark healthcare locally. The announcement coincided with the Frontiers of Healthcare 2025 conference at Hotel Indigo, where more than 300 medical professionals explored advances in dementia care, cancer treatment, and medical imaging. Former civil servant jailed for corruption. A former Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing officer has been sentenced to 2 years and 8 months in prison for taking bribes to falsify driving tests and vehicle inspections. Mark Chin, a well-known cricketer, admitted to 23 offences between 2016 and 2019. Justice Emma Peters said his actions struck at the heart of public trust and posed risk to road safety. 4 men who bribed Chin received community services sentences earlier this month. The Anti-Corruption Commission described the case as a result of a complex and protracted investigation. Surgeon pleads not guilty to manslaughter. Former Health Services Authority Surgeon Dr. Paul Anthony Tiganidis has pled not guilty to manslaughter over the death of Travis Alexander Ibans, who died after being treated for gunshot wounds in January last year. Tiganidis appeared by a video link on 26 October and is scheduled for trial in May 2026, which is expected to last up to 4 weeks. A case management hearing will be held in March. And now to regional news. Kingston joins Global Women's Empowerment Campaign. Jamaica has been selected as one of 13 cities worldwide to join the Carter Center's Inform Women, Transform Lives campaign, aimed at improving women's access to government services and information. Mayor Andrew Swaby said the initiative aligns with Kingston's gender equality goals and could pave the way for adopting further frameworks such as CEDAW. Activities will include community outreach, public art, and government training. The campaign spans 5 continents and 48 cities, representing over 255 million people, and was announced ahead of the International Day of Universal Access to Information. Kingston Harbor Cleanup Project eyes tourism potential. digital consultancy agency Eris Rom Limited is leading an ambitious effort to clean up Kingston Harbour and to transform it into a new tourism hub. The group has removed nearly 10 tons of plastic in 2 years and plans to recycle it into products such as sunglasses targeted at tourists. Future plans include reintroducing oysters to naturally filter water and make the harbour safe for activities like paddleboard boarding and jet skiing. Founder Alex Morrissey says the initiative could turn Kingston into a viable alternative to resort towns like Montego Bay and Ocho Rios. Tara Spalding's death sparks call for mental health screening. The death of Tara Spalding, a former Miss Universe Jamaica contestant, is prompting renewed calls for mental health interventions in social media. Consultant psychiatrist Dr. Sophia Longmore says platforms should use trigger words like suicide and self-harm to flag users for potential help. Spalding, 26, had shared her struggles online before reportedly taking her own life last Tuesday. Her death adds to a troubling trend. Jamaica recorded 67 suicides in 2024, the highest figure in over 2 decades. Experts urge the public to remain alert to warning signs and support those struggling. If you or someone you know is in crisis, contact the Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Helpline at 888-639-5433. In further afield, Venezuela stages military exercises amid U.S. naval presence. Venezuela staged coastal military exercises on Saturday in response to U.S. naval deployments near its shores, which Washington says are part of anti-drug trafficking efforts. Caracas condemned the U.S. actions as a military threat after several vessels were intercepted in recent weeks, resulting in 14 fatalities. Israel working on ceasefire plan ahead of Trump meeting. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his government is working with the White House on a new ceasefire plan as he prepares to meet U.S. President Donald Trump today. The proposed 21-point plan reportedly includes an increased ceasefire, the release of all hostages within 48 hours, and a gradual Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. The war sparked by Hamas' October 23 attacks has so far claimed more than 66,000 Palestinian lives, according to Gaza's health ministry. Despite international pressure, Netanyahu insists Israel must finish the job against Hamas. And those were your news update on Breakfast Hour for Monday 29 September. Continue to stay tuned for more updates throughout the day.
Of course, I want to thank Lady Corley Corinne for the news this morning. I write here on Flashpoint, so much happening in our news. Wow. You know, when I listen to the news, sometimes it creeps me out a little bit, you know. Immigration reform, that came on my mind immediately. Of course, most persons who are immigrants, immigration is going to be the top one. And of course, we hear about businesses that are going to be failing. And we know that this is going to be affecting a lot of businesses, persons who have been employed and are reliable individuals who will work constantly and won't walk off the job because they find a different offer somewhere else because they are loyal to this position or this job, or they find the job satisfaction. May I put it like that? And so there is this thing that a work permit holder will do, while somebody else who don't have a work permit will not do. And it finds a different trending. So we might have to look at the whole thing and really look at it. I remember rollover policy. I remember what that did. I think for the younger guys who are in government now, didn't remember, they were maybe babies at the time. They were young babies. I don't know. Ask parents what happened when that happened, and just measure that a little bit, and don't destroy people's business with draconian rules and policies. And that's what I would say. Measure it. Let good sense prevail, and of course, do well by the people, because the people that you are serving is not just your own; it's all the people that are living within the borders of the Cayman Islands. And there's a grain of selfishness that runs sometimes in the minds, and so we have to be careful when we have that little demon come up, understand why. Do bad things, do good sometimes, be nice. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And so I'd implore you to, while you're making laws, adjust your mind, see the benefits of everyone who works hard and tirelessly to make Cayman what it is today. Having said that, I want to say thank you for joining me this morning. It has been a beautiful morning right here in the Grand Cay, and I did enjoy myself. It was Miss Global came on this morning. Two of the competitors came on, and it was an awesome experience. I want to say good morning to a few persons before I go. I want to say good morning to Corley Karen, of course, our news anchor. She's on in the chat as well, of course, saying, I fans, of course, and all the team members. I want to say also to the man, I want to say also to Alison. Yeah, Alison, good morning to you also. Long time no talk. I want to say good morning, Alison. It's good to see you on this morning. Of course, the man Mario, After Dark. Hey, big up yourself, After Dark. Coming up tonight. Remember, After Dark comes up at 10 o'clock in the night tonight. Guys, do not miss this one. It will be an event not to miss. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop this one on the screen right now for those who do not know what After Dark is, and of course how important it is to be a part of the experience right here on Flashpoint. Alright, After Dark.
When the world quiets down and the noise of the day fades away, that's when the real conversations begin. The ones we hide, the ones we fear, the ones that need to be heard. Conversations After Dark with Mario, where the silence ends and truth begins. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m., Mario takes you on a journey through the real, raw, and rarely spoken truths that shape our lives. From personal battles to family struggles, community wounds to silent traumas. No topic is too taboo, no story too deep. It's not just talk, it's healing. This is a space where shame is shattered, silence is broken, and truth finally speaks. Conversations After Dark with Mario, every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Only on Flashpoint Radio, www.flashpointmedia.ky. Stay up, speak up, heal forward.
Alright, stay on. Of course, heal forward After Dark tonight at 10 p.m. right here, of course, Flashpoint Radio. It's all radio, and of course, Mario will be on this evening. Of course, Michael G joins sometimes and, have the conversation and just enjoy the energy and everything. Of course, remember, Cayman Got Talent comes up also on the 25th of this month. The first day of the month is today. And of course, remember, it comes up this month. Of course, guys, thank you for joining. And of course, this morning's experience is brought to you by M&M Construction for all your construction needs. Lasco Food Drink for all your food drinks need, and of course, other products. And of course, Aside Ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. Of course, Cayman Got Talent. This is how we're going to take you. Remember to like, share, subscribe to all our social media platforms. And of course, hit the notification bell that whenever time one of these programs comes up, you get it first. Of course, remember, our web radio continues all day today on www.flashpointmedia.ky, where you find a myriad of programs and programming right here in the Grand Cayman. Of course, enjoy Flashpoint. Enjoy the rest of the day with us. And of course, catch us tomorrow morning, same time, same place, when we do it all over again for you right here in the Grand K.
Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here. And for our first season, we are putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But hurry, the final date for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.ky or WhatsApp 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Cayman's Got Talent.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further, away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom?
I do know right now. 1, you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Number 2, you ain't gonna keep it to yourself. Flashpoint Radio. Internet comes alive. Inspiration